Welcome into the Charleston County Connects podcast. The role of this podcast is to connect our citizens with different programs and services provided by Charleston County. And we have a great guest today, somebody who works very closely with our citizens on a yearly basis, some cases whether they like it or not, unfortunately, as the auditor of Charleston County, and Peter Tecklenburg. How long have you been in this role?
I was elected in 2012, and the treasurer and auditor have a funny thing where we come in, instead of being elected in November, coming in January, we don't come in until the following July. And so July 2013, I've been doing this, real close to 10 years. And it's been a great adventure and a lot of fun, and something that I've gotten a lot of satisfaction out of doing.
And you play a big role in the tax system. So when people get that note in the mail every year, that is from the auditor's office letting them know what their property taxes are. It also applies to motor vehicles, a few other things people own as well, correct?
Yeah, primarily it's real property, which is our homes and people's real estate, and then personal property, which is cars and boats and airplanes. Not as many airplanes, but we have a lot of boats and a lot of cars here, and as well as a couple other things. Business personal property, which is stuff that businesses would use in order to make money. You have to pay the property tax on computers and things like that in an accountant's office or a stove at a bakery.
No kidding. I never would have known that gets taxed as well.
Yeah, they depreciate pretty quickly, so it's not as much, but hotels have to pay for all the furniture inside the rooms. If you can make money off of it, it's taxed. And so it's not as big a portion of our revenue stream as other types of personal property, cars and certainly real property, but something that we're required to do by state law, so we do it, and we work with businesses. And of course, the extreme on that is it goes everywhere from the taxing of like I said, the hotel rooms, furnishings, to the work we do in partnership with Economic Development and Department of Revenue with Boeing and other types of fee in lieu of tax agreements. So it goes from pretty simple stuff all the way to very complicated legal and high level types of agreements with multinational corporations and companies that are in Charleston County.
Well, the good news for our listeners is that we're not going to talk about taxes so much, but we're going to talk about how you save.
Yeah, right.
A few years ago, you guys went really hard to let people know about this homestead tax exemption. And it's something that people may not know that they're eligible for, but it can save them quite a bit of coin.
Yeah. The biggest exemption that people are entitled to. This is something that's not income-based. It's not based on some sort of other criteria. The homestead exemption is for anyone over the age of 65, folks who are also who are any age that are legally blind, and folks who are disabled. But what it does is it takes $50,000 worth of value off of your home, and there are no strings attached. It needs to be your primary residence, but you have to apply for it. And in South Carolina, you apply through the auditor's office. We've tried to make it as easy as we can in Charleston. You can do it online. You can call. We can pretty much do everything over the phone now, and have you even send us photos on a smartphone of just some pictures of a Medicare card or a driver's license or something like that. It's better to do it online where we can encrypt it, but or you can come in person, and the process for being certified is very simple. It takes about 3 minutes. We just need to confirm this is where you live, this is your primary residence, and you are over the age of 65. It's a little more complicated if it's disabled or something, but and it doesn't matter if your home is worth $50,000, and in that case we would remove your tax bill, or if your home's worth $5 million. If your home's worth $5 million, the discount is only $50,000 off of that, but anyone is eligible, and is not automatic, and I think that's what a lot of folks think. And it is different than legal residence, which is the 4% or the 6%. And a lot of folks use those terms, legal residence and homestead exemption, interchangeably, but they're very different. Legal residence is through the assessor's office. We're happy to help out. The assessor's office handles that, and that's how your home is going to be classified at either 4% or 6%. And in South Carolina, that is a huge difference because it's not just whether it's a 4% or 6% assessment ratio. Folks who have the 4% assessment ratio do not pay for school operating, which is about half your bill. And so the difference between a 4% bill and a 6% bill in Charleston County is a 4% bill on a $250,000 house is about $1,250. A 6% bill on a $250,000 house is about $4,000. And that's in the city of Charleston, which is a pretty sort of medium level millage rate or tax rate in Charleston County, and some lower, some higher. And it can make a huge difference. Now, if you're over the age of 65, on top of that, you can get that homestead exemption, which would lower that $1,250 tax bill down to about $1,000.
And real quick, to simplify the $50,000 value, so let's say it's a $250,000 home. The tax rate for somebody who applies for and gets the homestead tax exemption, you're only paying taxes on $200,000.
That's right.
Getting that right?
That's right. That's how we do it. We remove the $50,000 from the value. So instead of taxing it as if it was a $250,000 house, we'll tax it as if it's $200,000. Mm-hmm. And that's where the savings come, is by reducing the value. There are also ways in South Carolina, but of course in Charleston, where we try to keep those values from going up higher than people can afford. So there's a cap of 15% every 5 years. Mm-hmm. And the assessor's office does that. But in Charleston, if you bought a house 5 years ago, your home may have even doubled by now. You bought it 10 years ago, it certainly has. But we're only able to recoup the value up to 15% every 5 years, unless you sell it and buy a new house or something. So we try to keep these taxes as stable as possible. Charleston County has, and our municipalities inside Charleston County, by and large, have done a really good job of keeping taxes at a reasonable level in terms of not raising them. There's been a small increase, of course, with the cost of everything, but we haven't seen radical changes. And Charleston County Council has kept the millage rate very stable for many years now, and so we do the best we can with what we have.
In addition to some of the tax breaks for people who own homes, you guys also do things for your motor vehicle bill, and one of those is the high mileage exemption.
Right. We put the values on motor vehicles, and in doing that, we're able to capture a number of things about someone's car, the car you own. We know what year it is, we know what model it is, or make it is, the model, even the trim level. But it's really difficult for us to tell how much use the car has, and that has a big impact on the value. So the state requires us to treat each vehicle as if it has 15,000 miles of use per year. If you have less than 15,000 miles of use, then we're probably depreciating your car a little faster than it normally would have. If you have over 15,000 miles, you need to alert us the month that your tax bill comes out. And we have what we call high mileage discount. And so anyone who has over 15,000 miles per year on average will be eligible to have the value of their car or truck reduced. Also, if there's some sort of wear and tear issue or something, if you see a value on your tax bill you disagree with, the first thing you should do is call the auditor's office. We'll take a look at it and see if there's a way we can lower the bill. We want to be as accurate as we can, but not seeing the cars in person and not knowing how many miles they have makes it difficult. So, but it is important and incumbent upon the taxpayer to apply or to notify us, and we'll work on reducing that bill.
And your office has gone through a lot of processes to make things simpler for people. A lot of these applications are available online.
Everything's available online. We have the chat function also, and of course people can call. We want to do everything we can to keep people from having to come into the office. Sometimes that has to happen, but just about every single thing we do, we can do online or over the phone and guide someone through the process if they can't find it. But it's all available. We have a lot of online features available on the county website. You can go to auditor.charlestoncounty.org, and it'll bring you straight to our site. We have a tax estimator. So if you're looking at a house and you're trying to figure out what it's going to be, or what the taxes may be, you can type in what the area is or what tax district you're in, and then the price, and if it's going to be 4% or 6%, or even the same with a car, and get a general idea of what the taxes will be in Charleston County. That's helpful for realtors. It's helpful for people who are just scouting around, or even folks who are looking at maybe thinking of getting a different car.
Yeah. Well, we do have a fair amount of people that move here, so it does make sense that they would want to check that out. A transition to your latest endeavor,
Yep.
which is, I don't know how many people still check their mail on a daily basis. I feel like that's going down. A trip to the mailbox seems tedious at times.
Yep.
So for you guys, you have a new alternative for people who just don't want to get their bill in the mail.
We have been working on trying to get e-bills out or have your bill emailed to you. And that's something we have been doing now for a short amount of time. And if you go to our website, you can opt into it. We're really starting to ramp up on it. We send a lot of mail. We send a lot, and it costs money. It costs county money. Of course, there's money, and there's the aspects related to the environment. We would love to stop sending as much paper mail as we do. A lot of folks get these bills, they throw them in the trash can as a reminder. They know they're going to pay it. Some folks have the mortgage companies pay their bills, and so they don't even really need a copy. They just know that it's going to get paid. I always tell folks that the government, not Charleston County, but government in general, is usually 10 years behind the private sector. Most of us have been hounded for 10 years now by our cable companies, by our banks, by our phone companies to get e-billing. They'll give you a discount. We can't give a discount, but it does save money for Charleston County. Eventually, if we can get enough people doing this, we can reduce some of the money we spend on sending out this postage. And maybe we'll find better ways to spend some of that money on public safety or more EMS or something else. But what we're trying to do is really catch up with the way that most folks live their lives now. I get my power bill, my phone bill, my bank bills or bank statements all come via online each month. And so I think the majority of us are starting to move in that direction. This is completely optional. It's something you have to opt into. And we'll continue to send these paper bills if you want them. But for a lot of folks who don't even need them or don't want them, or would like to take that next step and help Charleston County move into that direction, please go online and sign up for it. We can send reminders out for folks who have signed up for it, which is something we can't do with paper bills. So, what we can do is if you sign up for this, we can check to see when the bills are due. And if we haven't had it, it's real easy for us to send out a blast to people saying, hey, here's a reminder. You got a week to pay your tax bill, and then we haven't received payment yet. If you received it, just ignore this. If not, here's a little reminder.
Reminders are good nowadays.
Yeah, can't do that with paper. You could. It costs a lot of money, and it takes more time. It takes 3 or 4 days to print these things and 3 or 4 days to make it through the mail. And so by the time we get a reminder out to somebody, it's too late. But we can run a report in the morning and have an email out in 2 hours. So that's something that a direction we're trying to move in. We're always trying to make things easier for folks, and that's one of our new endeavors. And we have had a number of folks sign up already, and I think it's going to grow over the next few years. It takes time. SCE&G or Knology or Verizon didn't get all their folks signed up on the first year. It took them 5 or 6 years to really to get to the point where they're at. So
in your office, even with communicating with citizens, again, you have telephone numbers, different email addresses, depending on what you're looking for information about, the online chat feature, and now e-bills. So it definitely seems like we're moving in this direction. As a dad as well, I do have one more question for you. How does cereal pay their bills?
Is this a dad joke?
Could be.
Oh, Lord. How does cereal pay his bills? I don't know.
With checks.
Oh, gosh. There you go. I'll have to remember that one.
Yeah. And it works as an auditor. I mean,
yeah. Oh no, it's a good one.
Play really well.
I'll take that on the road, and I'll let you know how that plays out.
Awesome. Peter, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.